my story could be a survival guide for someone else. The trauma that I walked through, not only physically, mentally, emotionally, can help others. And so when I tell my story, it's about, girl, get up, crawl through the glass, do the simple things. You can do this.
Hey gang, today's podcast is a real twister, literally, and you're going to find out what I mean. I'm talking to a BODi partner, but also a survivor, a BODi customer who is probably the only person I've ever spoken to or known who actually got confronted by an actual tornado that lifted her off the ground. And all right, well, I don't need to tell you the story. I'm going to let her tell you the story. Please welcome to the BODi Experience, Amber Jones. Hi, Amber. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay. I'm blown away. I'm shocked, and I can't imagine anything like the story you're about to tell us. So I'll just tell the audience, hey, pour yourself a daily dose of protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals, superfoods, and let's hear a story about what it's like to be in a tornado. Now, I do want to hear your whole BODi experience, but let's lead into that with, the headline and what the heck happened. I want details because this is insane.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share my story. So in May 26, 2015, I was hit by an EF1 tornado. That's where winds can be up to 105 to 110 miles per hour. I was in Beaver Creek, Ohio, where I'm from, OH, and I was working as a night nurse, and I was going to have dinner, so I didn't realize storms were happening while I was sleeping. I drove to go have dinner and parked my car, took off my seatbelt, and the EF1 tornado came through, and you really don't see it coming. I'd like to say that I saw it coming and I knew it was going to happen, but the weirdest thing that I kind of had an out-of-the-body experience, like, why is this tree being uprooted in front of me? But your mind doesn't really know what to do with that. So I'm watching a tree being uprooted, and then all of a sudden the tornado came from my left side and pulled my car up, moved it the length of a football field, and dropped it on its head. Around me, there were 40-pound-ton air conditioners coming off of roofs, trees being uprooted, cars being flung around. And luckily I had all of my windows were busted out. So luckily I was able to climb out of the car and climb through glass to get to safety. I knew in that moment that if I didn't climb over glass to get out of the car, that I was going to lay there and die. And I decided to get up.
Wow. So hold on. What kind of car was it?
It was a Sonic. It was a little Sonic black mid-sized four-door that was completely crushed.
So you're sitting in there, got your seatbelt on.
I took it off because I was getting ready to get out of the car. But if I would have kept it on, safety belts are important, I might have had less brakes, but I had taken it off, yeah.
All right, so you're taking it off, you're getting ready, and do you see the tornado?
I never saw it coming. I only saw that tree being uprooted, and I remember having the thought, this is so weird. This tree is coming out of the ground right now. But how do you fit that into your psyche? So
sure. And so next thing you know, you're just in the air?
I was in the air. Yeah, I had this very peaceful, calm feeling. People are surprised that I remember the moment, but I do. Very peaceful moment washed over you. And then the next moment was hitting the ground and thinking, I'm going to die here. I'm going to get up.
And so you're having this peaceful flight in your car. Is it spinning you around? Are you seeing other stuff? Are there cows in the air? What?
Like the Dorothy. I don't remember that. I don't remember what I saw. I just remember what I can only imagine is a higher power just, washing over you. But as far as what I saw up there, I don't remember that part of seeing.
Got it. And you mentioned Dorothy.
which the doctor said right away as I came in. And I thought, he comes into my room and he's like, "Hey, Dorothy." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this man doesn't even have the right patient. Like, what a
Ouch.
day." And then he was like, "Oh, is it too early?" I'm like, "Yeah, just a smidge."
Yeah, too soon. Um, I'm sure you're never going to be able to watch The Wizard of Oz again. That's just too close.
I do. It's good.
So the landing, that impact
Mhm.
had to be outrageous. That's got to be the
Yeah.
thing that sort of resonates.
Hmm.
And so it's all is it all of a sudden it's quiet and it's calm, the thing had moved on,
Hmm.
and
The eerie, weird, quiet. Yeah. Yeah. And
everything you knew about normal had changed that
my,
fast.
the trajectory of my life had changed. And in that moment, it's that flight or fight response. So I was not feeling, I had broken C6, which is on your right side of your neck. It's actually the Superman break. So thank you, Jesus, I'm able to walk.
Mhm.
And T6, T3, T4, and T5, they're breaks that are in between your shoulder blades. They're most common with a motorcycle accident because of the way that you hit the ground. So it's very rare to have those. And it just so happened to how I ducked my neck and hit the top of that car that caused those breaks. So
Mm.
I did not feel a thing. I walked into the nearby restaurant asking for help, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 you're bleeding." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine." And it's just pure adrenaline running through your body.
Wow. So okay, so how far away was the restaurant?
I'd say it was a good 12 feet is what I climbed out and then started walking into the
I see.
restaurant. They had a truck, a nearby truck that went through their front window. So everyone was in the back. And so I
Mm.
was just trying to find someone to call 911. As a nurse, I knew the
Oh,
people that were on night shift. So I'm like, I know who's working today.
so life is different now. Like you survived a twister. You're probably on the news. You know, I mean, your family. Can you sleep? Like, what is life like after an event like that?
Actually the first person I'm telling my story to. I had multiple news channels that reached out. And in that moment, I was in that why me phase. I was angry. I was frustrated. I had this whole plan for my life. And I was frustrated that the fact that this had been taken away from me. I was in a CTO collar. That is a collar that goes from your chin to the top of your hips. And I couldn't move. I couldn't bend over. I couldn't reach. I couldn't twist. My husband had to shower with me to do simple things like shave my legs. I mean, there were very small things that I could not do for myself. And I ended up moving my job. I couldn't lift patients anymore. So I ended up getting a new job through the hospital that helped. I had severe PTSD. I wouldn't drive a car. And as you're in those types of braces, your muscles just atrophy. And that's a nursing way of saying they waste away. If you've ever seen an older person in a nursing home, their muscles start to look very, very small.
Yeah.
So by the time I didn't need surgery, I just had to have bracing. But by the time the bracing and soft collars and all of that came off and I started physical therapy, I was down to about 98 pounds as a 5'8.5" woman. So
Wow.
very small.
Yeah.
And I couldn't lift. When I walked out, I will never forget, when I walked out of the doctor's office from getting all of the casting off, I was walking like this. And my husband and my mom said, "Is something wrong with your shoes? Like, what's happening?" And I
Mm.
said, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "You're not holding your head up." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And just the simple, small neck muscles I could not hold my head like a baby would.
So what was were you active? Did you exercise before all this happened? What was your routine before a twister entered?
I played sports all throughout high school and college. I loved soccer. I loved basketball. As I got into nursing, we worked 12-hour shifts, so it wasn't as much. I just basically walked, hung out with friends and played, pickup games with basketball and things. But I didn't have any type of set regimen at the time.
I see.
Mhm.
So you realized you had the braces off and you're looking at your shoes. What's the process to having the courage? Because it couldn't have, I can't imagine it was pain-free to get started. Did you have a therapist, like a physical therapist, or what was the process?
Yeah, so the hospital put me in an outpatient physical therapy where you're just basically using the rubber bands, and my muscles would just shake, 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 shake. And I just remember crying every time because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't even lift my own body weight. Or I would try to take walks near my home, and I want to do it alone because I've been in this brace being helped and feeling helpless for so long. And I'd have to sit down and call my husband and be like, come and get me. I can't come any further. And so I just was, the turning moment was honestly when I was pregnant with my son. I got pregnant with my son after the tornado, about a year after. And I just knew that if I didn't start doing something, how was I going to lift this baby? And after he did come into the world, it was very evident that I wasn't going to be able to lift and wear him and do all the things that a mom needs to be able to do.
So you had that realization, and what did you look at? What were your options? What did you explore?
Yeah, so I started trying to do like I said, just the walking, yoga, and had been talking about it to some of my friends. And I had a friend who said, have you ever seen the program BODi? And I was like, no, I don't know that I know much about it. And so, excuse me. And so I looked it up, and I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. My sister was doing one of Autumn's programs at the time, and she's like, start with 21 Day Fix. And I was like, okay, I'll start that. But I immediately knew that I was going to be modifying with cat the entire way. I modified every single move, and that is not for the weak. The modifying is still doing all of the movement. And then when she would pick up weights, I knew that physically I was not going to be able to do the weights. I was using soup cans. The second time around, I used frozen water bottles, just trying to work my way up to the actual 2-pound weights. And wow. I did finally.
And how did you manage to keep going? Like, you must have some amazing inner strength to just confront the fact that you're having to modify the modifier. Just how did you keep going?
So I'd say the biggest reason is my son. I would put him in front of me and remind myself of why I'm doing this. And then also always going back to that moment of, you've relearned to drive a car, you've gone through exposure therapy of, literally, it sounds ridiculous, but sitting in a car while my husband puts a hose over the car to, reenact rain. So just triggering that. You've gone through all of this. You've gotten out of the car and crawled through glass to get to safety. You can keep going. You can do this 20 minutes. You can do this 30 minutes. You can lift this weight because that burn is momentary, but the lifelong strong, strength that you're getting from it is like anything else. And I'd say my son and my faith, definitely.
So that's interesting. So the event itself also gave you sort of the reinforcement that you can push through difficult things. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And if I may take it full circle to the movie you were talking about earlier, I do love Wizard of Oz, and I always have loved Wizard of Oz. And if you've ever seen it, in the end of the movie, she says, Glinda comes and Dorothy says, will you help me? Can you help me? I want to go home. And she says, honey, you don't need to be helped any longer. You've always had the power to go back to Kansas. And she says, how? And she says, because why didn't you tell me before? And she said, because you wouldn't have believed me if I told you. And coming full circle, the nutrition and the fitness and the mindset has been my Tin Man and my lion and my scarecrow. And they have helped me along this yellow brick road to get me to a home that is my body, because there is no place like home. And this is the only body we have to live in. So with this versatile platform, it's amazing.
So walk me through your progress a little bit. How many times did you have to do 21 Day Fix, and how did you see and feel your body healing and changing as you're going through it?
Absolutely. I did 21-day fix, I believe, 3 times before I moved up, just because I knew that I wanted to modify less, to do the moves. I also love Autumn's motivation. She's great at that. My son liked watching her. He'd always be excited when she was on. And I started doing the Energize and the Shakeology and just learning the mindset, learning how to eat right. And for me, it wasn't about losing weight. It was about being stronger. And so learning what my body needs, the protein in order to grow in the muscle. After that, I did the Megan's Muscle Burns Fat, and I really liked that. She's amazing. But from there, I found Joel's programs, Lift 4, Lift More. And I knew as soon as I found that, I'm like, this is it. I love weightlifting. This is my passion. This is what I want to do nonstop. And I went out, got myself weights, got myself a yoga mat. I do it in the garage here at my home so I can be present with my son and my family, still have time to cook dinner. And from there, you see, I think I like the lifting because you're in control of it. You see the mind muscle connection. You see the tweaks and the details of your body changing. And it's powerful. You feel powerful because I see this muscle growth, and I see from where I came to where I am now. And it's amazing.
Now, you said that your sister was it your sister that referred you to this?
Mm-hmm.
And did you call on the community at all for support? Like, was that a thing, or you're pretty much isolated and you have no problem? You seem self-disciplined and you manage your emotions, you manage your behavior pretty well. Does the community play a role at all?
Yeah. So my sister and I, and a few people that she was doing some of Autumn's programs with, Control Freak, things like that. We had an accountability group. So we'd check in and say, have you done that today? Because as you are starting, that discipline is not yet there. Oftentimes I remember thinking, gosh, people who work out like this, like, how do you get home after a long day and be like, yes, I'm ready to work out? And it takes a minute to be, disciplined to where when that motivation's gone, that discipline is sitting there. So having the community, my sister, I'm in a group now where we check in and say, hey, had a tough day, but I'm pushing through, or remember to take your rest day so your muscles can build. And then, of course, my husband often does it with me, and he pushes me. He makes sure that, man, I love him to death because he will make sure I have 45 minutes of my day where I'm not being touched by a child, so I can do what makes me happy and grounded. And he'll go, babe, just go to the garage, get your workout in. We'll think about everything else when we're done.
Now, you said you were 98 pounds after going through this healing process, and which is, we don't have many people on here where we talk about a weight gain story. Mm-hmm. But where are you physically now? How do you feel physically? Did you put the muscle back on? Absolutely. How's it going?
Absolutely. And I don't mind at all. I'm 142 pounds and I feel amazing. I mean, I no longer look sickly. I'm wearing this top because I love it, but this is usually what I would wear when I was shirts like this that covered up here because I looked so gaunty. People would think, oh, do you have some terminal illness? Things that I just felt very self-conscious. And no, now I've gained that weight. And that's why I think this program is so versatile. It is not just a weight loss program. It's a program for every single body to be good enough and to feel good about yourself in the world. And for me, it's about being stronger. It was never about being skinny. It's about being stronger and being happy with this home that I'm in. So I've worked all summer with glutes and legs because I really want to see that definition. And man, it takes time. But right now I'm currently working on shoulders and finishing Dig Deeper. And I'll tell you what, Shanti's kicking my butt and teaching me that mind muscle connection. Lord Almighty. Well,
it's amazing that you keep it going. How do you share this? It's a great gift. And I so appreciate the realization that you've had and the sort of the inner work at the same time that you're doing the outer work. not many people are going to have that tornado story or trauma to need to find their way back. So how do you use that experience and your way back to help other people?
Yeah. So mainly when I tell my story, people will ask why I'm in the job that I'm in, or they'll have a friend who knows me and will say, "Oh, she was hit by a tornado." So when you tell people that, it's shocking. At the very, people often are like, "Is she serious? Like, what do you mean?" So, and naturally, authentically, people want to know. They have questions, and at first, I wasn't ready to share that story because I was so angry with what had happened that I felt like to me. But as I've grown, I've felt like, my story has come 360 to where my story could be a survival guide for someone else. The trauma that I walked through, not only physically, mentally, emotionally, can help others. And so when I tell my story, it's about, girl, get up, crawl through the grass, do the simple things. You can do this. If I can do it, and I can do it from my own home, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to, give up any part of my family or anything to devote to something else. I can put 30 minutes to even as less as 15 minutes to get my workout in. And for me, it's what quiets my brain. And I just share to people that, taking little steps is what's going to get you there. And it's not just about losing the weight or, gaining the weight. It's about feeling strong and being comfortable. And doing these things makes me a better person for others. Often the moms that I speak with, I often tell them that whether you are being intentional or not as a mother, little eyes are watching you. Our children are watching you. They are watching that you take those 30 minutes to do that for yourself. They see your body changing. They listen to how you talk about your body, how you talk to others. And my child especially, he knows that mommy is going to do that for 30 minutes. He knows it makes mommy happy, and he will do his own form of a workout. I'm going to go run around the yard with the dog because he knows that our brain is a muscle for school and our bodies are muscle that need nurturing. So just telling moms that it's important and it's okay to take time for yourself as well.
Yeah. All right. I got to ask you the question. So Twister 2 is in theaters right now. Did you buy your tickets in advance? Are you going to see the movie, or is that just, you don't need to relive that?
I have not yet. I know everybody keeps asking me this question. I have not yet. I've seen the old Twister and Wizard of Oz, but I feel like Patty, my therapist, tells me that I've graduated from exposure therapy. I'm not sure I'm signing up for another ride. I like the ground too much.
Well, we're glad you're okay, and it's an incredible story. It's just amazing to see somebody that found their way back when it's so easy. Like you said, you could go into victim mode, and that turns into anger, and then you're doing anything but the stuff that can actually help you get out of it. And congratulations for finding your way out of it, Amber, and for sharing your story with us. I'm just so grateful that we've got people like you that can take trauma and turn it into something that can be so powerful for yourself and for the people around you. So
absolutely. Thank you so much for letting me share my story. It's an honor speaking with you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, look, don't wait for a twister to throw you across town to get yourself in shape. Maybe start now so that when anything surprising happens, you're strong enough to handle it. I'll tell you, I'm doing BODi Lava right now, and I'm blown away at my strength, my stamina gains. I just have a shake every morning. This is my breakfast here. I put a banana in there, I put some coconut oil, and actually put spinach in. These are the things that you do. Maintain your health, maintain your youth, your stamina, and so when you get knocked down, your ability to get back up again, regardless of your age, is that much more resilient. And that's what I'm getting out of BODi Lava. That's what I get out of just being a part of the BODi ecosystem. So all I can say is pick one program, whether it's a program like BODi Lava, Amber did 21-Day Fix, Muscle Burns Fat, the Lift 4, Lift More franchise. She's doing Dig Deeper now. So you can go to BODiPreviews.com, and just in exchange for your email, we'll give you lifetime access to over 130 workouts. And overall, that's probably $100 or more worth of content. It's yours free to use. And if you find that program that's going to be right for you, you set your goals and you go for it. So you can go to BODiPreviews.com, see which program speaks to you. And then when you have your own BODi experience, hopefully it's not a tornado, but we want to hear your story. So you can submit it to our Instagram handle for stories. It's called @BODiStories. That's @BODi Stories. And the team will take a look. And if you get featured on there, you get a t-shirt out of it, and maybe you'll even be on the podcast with me. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, Amber, for sharing your story. And I'll see you guys next time on the BODi Experience.